Jake go.
Just want to start today with a trigger warning disclaimer. This podcast contains descriptions of death and drowning. Hi, I'm Katie Carpenter.
I'm Terry Kovanitz.
We apologize for any and all mistakes today as we begin this episode of Titanic Transcripts.
The witness has been sworn. What is your name?
George Thomas Rowe.
And how old are you?
32.
And how long have you sailed?
In the merchant service, 2 years. Previous to that, 14 years in the Navy.
Mr. Rowe, where were you the night of the collision?
Well, I felt a slight jar and I looked at my watch. It was a fine night, and it was then 20 minutes to 12. I looked toward the starboard side of the ship and saw a mass of ice. I then remained on the afterbridge to await orders through the telephone. No orders came down, and I remained until 25 minutes after 12 when I saw a boat on the starboard beam.
What was the number of the boat?
You could not tell the number. I telephoned to the forebridge to know if they knew there was a boat lowered, and they replied asking me if I was the third officer. I replied, no, I'm the quartermaster. They told me to bring over detonators, which are used in firing distress signals.
Oh, what happened next?
I took them to the forebridge and turned them over to the fourth officer. I assisted the officer to fire them, and I was firing the distress signals until about 5 and 20 minutes after 1. At that time, they were getting out the starboard collapsible boats. Chief Officer Wilde wanted a sailor. I asked Captain Smith if I should fire any more, and he said, no, get into that boat. I went to the boat. Women and children were being passed in. I assisted 6, 3 women, and 3 children. The order was then given to lower the boat. The chief officer wanted to know if there were more women and children. There were none in the vicinity. 2 gentlemen passengers got in. The boat was then lowered. When we reached the water, we steered for a light in sight, roughly 5 miles. We pulled through the night, but seemed to get no nearer to the lights. So we altered our course back to a boat that was carrying a green light. During that time, daylight broke and the Carpathia was in sight.
And there was nothing special about your getting on the Carpathia?
No, sir. In the meantime, I found that one of the two gentlemen was Mr. Ismay. I don't know who the other one was. 39 in the boat, all told.
You say there were 39 passengers in the boat.
Not all passengers, sir. 39 all told.
How many of those were crew or sailors?
Myself was the only sailor, 3 firemen, and 1 steward.
You had no trouble in managing the boat?
Not a bit.
The passengers, aside from your sailors, were all women and children.
Except Mr. Ismay and another gentleman. When daylight broke, we found 4 men, Chinamen, I think they were, or Filipinos.
Were those additional to the 39?
Yes, sir.
All the rest of the 39 were women and children, except 2, Mr. Ismay and another gentleman.
Yes, sir.
When day broke, you found 4 Chinamen or Filipinos under the seats?
Not under the seats then, sir. They came up between the seats. Ours was about the 9th boat, which was unloaded on the Carpathia. The night was very cold, but those who were in the boat were very well wrapped up and did not suffer.
Now tell us the circumstances under which Mr. Ismay and the other gentleman got in the boat.
When Chief Officer Wilde asked if there were any more women and children, there was no reply, so Mr. Ismay came aboard the boat.
Mr. Wilde asked, were there any more women or children, and can you say there were none?
I could not see, but there were none forthcoming.
You could see around there on the deck, could you not?
I could see the fireman and steward that completed the boat's crew, but as regards any females, I could not see any.
Were there any men passengers besides Mr. Ismay and the other man?
I did not see any, sir.
Was it light enough so that you could see anyone nearby?
Yes, sir.
If I understand, there were firemen and stokers around in that neighborhood?
Yes, sir.
But no women or children?
No women or children, sir.
And so far as you could see, no other passengers except Mr. Ismay and this other gentleman?
Yes.
Did you know Mr. Ismay at that time?
I did know him, sir, because I had seen the gentleman before.
Going along on the water, did he give any directions?
No, I was in charge of the boat.
You in entire charge of the boat?
Absolute, sir.
Did you see any ice when on the watch?
No, sir. Only when we struck, when we passed it on the starboard side.
About how high was that iceberg?
Roughly 100 feet, sir.
Was there anything distinctive about the color of that iceberg?
Not a bit, sir. Just like ordinary ice.
You saw it as it was brushing by?
Yes, sir. It was very close to the ship, almost touching it.
You did not know how many compartments were opened up?
No, sir, because I never left the after part of the boat.
Did you see Mr. Ismay and Mr. Carter get in the boat?
I saw the gentleman get in, yes, sir.
Did you hear anyone ask them to get in?
No, sir.
How were you occupied at the time they got in?
I was occupied in attending the afterfall, sir.
Were you watching Chief Officer Wilde?
Yes, sir.
And did you see him speak to them?
No, sir.
If he had spoken to them, would you have known it?
I think so, because they got in the after part of the boat.
And you were in the after part of the boat?
I was in the after part, yes.
Was the helm over when you passed the iceberg?
That I could not say.
Did you hear any order to abandon ship or anything like that?
No, sir.
Did you hear any general alarm?
No, sir.
Did you hear the sirens?
No sirens, sir, but there was an awful noise made by the escape of steam.
Was that noise below or up at the escape pipe?
At the exhaust pipe.
Were there any detonators or other signals kept aft?
The detonators, such as the distress signal rockets, green lights, and blue lights.
Were there any kept forward?
Yes, on the forebridge.
On the after bridge too?
Not on the after bridge. There was a private locker aft.
Were you at any time on any other deck aside from the top of or bridge deck?
No, sir, not after 8 o'clock.
Was there any panic that you saw?
Not a bit.
Might not a number of persons have been on the lower decks?
Well, yes, sir, undoubtedly.
There was no staterooms on the top deck, were there?
That I could not say.
Did you hear any sign or hear any indication of an alarm to call the passengers?
No, sir.
Just where were you when you saw the iceberg?
On the poop, sir, underneath the afterbridge.
You were located practically right on the stern of the boat?
Right on the stern, sir, the poop.
And the iceberg, when the boat rubbed against it, was right near, was it?
Yes, sir.
And how far would you say?
It was so near that I thought it was going to strike the bridge.
Oh, did it strike the bridge?
No, sir, never.
Only 10 or 20 feet away?
Not that far.
Did you notice the iceberg when the boat got clear of it?
No, sir. I went on the bridge then to stand by the telephone.
Could you hear the ice scraping along the boat where you were?
No, sir.
So you do not know whether it was rubbing against the hull there or not?
No, sir.
What is your best judgment about that?
I do not think it was.
You are positive you heard no rubbing?
Yes, sir.
Do you not think that if the helm had been hard a starboard and the stern would have been up against the berg?
It stands to reason that it would, sir, if the helm were hard to starboard.
Were you able to form any judgment to how long that berg was?
No, sir.
How near were you to the starboard side of the boat when you first noticed it rubbing?
About 8 or 10 feet. I went to the side.
Did you go immediately to the side?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Rowe, what were your duties as quartermaster?
My duties were to attend the log and night signals by night, logging ensign by day, and to look out for any accidents, a man overboard or something like that.
Were you also to keep track of vessels that might be coming up on the side?
Oh, yes, sir, but that is very seldom the case that anything like that happens.
Were you reading the log that night?
Well, as soon as the berg was gone, I looked at the log and it read 260 miles. The log was reset at noon. I had charge of the taffrail log, which was the Neptune log.
You read the log each hour, did you not?
Every 2 hours. I read it at 10 o'clock, but I do not remember what it was now, sir.
Do you remember what speed she was making, or did you make any computation?
No, sir. We read the logbook every 2 hours, and it's telephoned to the bridge and entered in the quartermaster's logbook. It's taken from there every watch and put on the ship's log.
How soon after she struck was it before she started to tilt or go down by the head? She did not list, did she?
No, sir. Not at that time, I don't think.
Did she at any time list over to starboard or port?
She did not list, so far as I know, until the time when my boat was lowered. Then she listed to port. She listed about 5 or 6 degrees.
To port?
Yes, sir.
What side was your boat on?
The starboard side, sir. All the time my boat was being lowered, the rubbing strake kept on catching on the rivets down the ship's side, and it was as much as we could do to keep her off.
Oh, what was the beam of your boat?
I could not say.
Would it have more beam than a lifeboat?
It had more beam than what they call the emergency boat.
But not any more than a lifeboat?
No.
You are sure you got rubbed going down?
Yes, sir.
Was the Titanic down by the head?
Yes, sir. When we left the ship, the forewell deck was awash. That is, when we pushed off from the ship. It was 1.25 when I left the bridge to get into the boat. When the boat was in the water, well, the deck was submerged. It took us a good 5 minutes to lower the boat on account of this rubbing going down.
She must have sunk soon after you left.
20 minutes, I believe.
Did any boats get away after yours?
One boat got away after mine on the port side.
How long did the rubbing or grinding against the ice last?
I never heard anything except the first contact. The first jar was all I knew about. I never heard any rubbing at all.
Do you think the propeller hit the ice? Did you feel any jolt like the propeller hitting the ice?
No, sir.
Do you not think the propeller would have hit the ice if the helm had been turned hard to starboard?
Yes, sir.
Did you hear any revolver shots?
No, sir.
Did you see the light of a boat or anything of that kind?
I saw the light. That was the light we were pulling for when we left the ship.
What do you conclude that light was?
A sailing ship.
What sort of light was it?
A white light.
Did you get any nearer to it?
We did not seem to get nearer to it.
What did you conclude about it?
Well, we just kept on pulling for it because it was the only stationary light.
Do you think there was a sailing boat there?
Yes, sir.
And was she going away from you?
Toward daylight, the wind sprung up and she sort of hauled off from us.
Oh, did you see her?
No, sir.
Did you see any side light?
No, sir. I think there was a ship there. Indeed, I am sure of it, and that she was a sailor.
The light you saw was a white light.
Yes, sir.
What did you judge it to be? A stern light?
I judged it to be a stern light, yes, sir.
Did you see this light before the ship struck?
Yes, sir.
What was its bearing with regard to the Titanic? Forward or aft?
Right forward, sir.
Dead ahead?
Not dead ahead, but just a little on the port bow.
That was before the ship struck?
Well, no, sir, because I was never on the bridge until after the ship struck.
You did not see it when you were aft?
No, sir.
But you say you did see her before even the ship struck?
Oh, no, sir.
You did not mean to say you saw her before the ship struck?
No, sir.
When did you first see her?
When I was on the bridge firing the rockets. I saw it myself, and I worked the Morse lamp at the port side of the ship to draw her attention.
Do you know whether the watertight doors were closed or not?
I could not say.
Did you hear any signal for the doors to close?
No.
You had a signal on the ship ring bells before the doors closed, did you not?
I could not hear that on the poop.
You could not hear the 3 gongs for dead ahead on the poop, could you?
No.
Do you know whether any of the men were sent down below to see whether any of the doors were closed or not?
I could not say.
You would not have known that, really, anyway, would you?
No, sir.
Was there any steam coming up through any of the hatches or ventilators?
No, sir. The only steam I saw was coming out of the exhaust pipes.
Did you hear any explosions?
I heard one, sir, after we left the ship. It was not an explosion. It was sort of a rumbling.
What did you think it was?
I have no idea what it was.
Do you think it was a boiler exploding?
It was not an ordinary explosion, you understand. It was more like a distant thunder.
Was that before or after the ship sank?
Before she sank, sir.
Were there more than one of those explosions?
I only heard the one, sir.
How far from the ship were you when she went down?
About 3/4 of a mile, sir.
Did you see her go down?
I saw her stern disappear at the finish, sir.
It was while she was still floating that you heard the explosions?
You heard this rumbling sound, sir.
You are quite sure of that, are you?
Positive, sir.
Okay, thank you. That is all. Wow, that was quite the first-handed eyewitness account.
Yeah, it was short but very meaty.
But he's the first one that saw it, like, saw the iceberg
Yeah,
as
we
it was
haven't
right
seen
there.
anybody say that so far. And yeah, he just jumps right in. I had to look and see if we had heard from him before because he just starts going.
He had stuff to say.
He knows what he's there for, and he just goes for it, and then we don't even find out until 2 pages in that he's the quartermaster.
Well, that had to be the most amazing thing of his life to just feel the bunk and look,
and there's out, and there's 100 foot
right there, and it's like so much closer than 10 feet.
Reach out and touch it.
Yeah, that was gave me the goosebumps.
That would be wild.
And I liked that he was he must have been on the other side of the boat doing the fireworks and the Morse
distress
codes.
signals. Yeah. But he says, I mean, immediately almost we hear again about that white light.
Yes, he saw it from the ship, but not.
Well, yeah, he said he saw it from the ship, but
not until after they hit.
Yeah.
Because obviously,
well, he wasn't up there till after they hit, so then that's why. But yeah, so this mysterious white light is back again,
and hooray for the green lights!
Yeah, we know that's another. We know that's another lifeboat.
Yeah, that mysterious boat. It's just
this white light. I know, and then I mean, okay, sorry, but 4 stowaways in there.
Yeah. Yeah, really?
And especially because at this point, this is one of the second to last boat to go down, so we know that they're, I mean, he said 39, and it said in the parentheses, this is one of the collapsible boats.
Yeah.
And so they're really risking it going down, and then
you've
got 39 all told is not quite right.
They were scrambling. Everybody looking that way? Let's get on. Hurry. Was it one at a time? Or
or were they
everybody as a group?
I mean, I guess at day 3 you'd have to have come out, right? You got to go to the bathroom sometime.
Oh, yeah, these can't be
Yeah.
That many on the same... Because you'd hear them whispering and giggling and stuff. So, no, I don't think so.
They really seem to be trying to come after Ismay again, though.
Yeah.
Did you hear anybody tell him to get into the boat?
Very suspicious. He thinks there was some special treatment. Mm-hmm. But Officer Wilde spoke to him, right? Is that what I read? And then he's like, get any women? No, get these on the boat. Yeah. I think there was probably special treatment. I mean, it's Ismay. Maybe there kind of should be special treatment.
Some people know who he is, but some people don't and didn't find out till after, like this guy, Rowe. And I mean, Rowe didn't have anything to do with him getting in the boat either. But also, I guess...
But
I understand if you don't see any other women around, but we've discussed this before. I mean, obviously they know there's other they know the total number of passengers, and they know. But you're in the emergency, you're looking around, nobody's right there. You have to get off the ship, so
and it's already listing, and I'm not waiting for you to run downstairs and see if somebody's available. So
2 only.
And then, yikes, how it was catching on the rivets on the way down.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. That's as close as it gets. I mean, they are so lucky to have gotten off that boat in one piece.
I agree.
It's like, whoa.
And then the shots mentioned again. Did you hear any shots?
Yeah.
But he didn't. But we do know there were 3 fired.
Yes.
And then, again, I'm going to come back to the white light. Just one other thing. He says... that when daybreak started, that it seemed to haul off.
Yes, when the wind picked up.
Yeah,
but nobody else has said anything about that.
Yeah,
but
so that's an interesting new piece of news, I guess. I don't think we're ever going to find out what that was.
It's very very puzzling. Yeah, it's so obviously there was something there.
Yes, because how that many people, and it can't be. I know we had one witness say about the Northern Lights, but that's not what they look like. So it couldn't have been.
And we know it's not a buoy in the middle of the Atlantic. So it's got to be something. And how we... Yeah. I know it was a long, 100 years ago, but that we're not able to figure out or track it down.
Yeah.
Like, who was in the water? Was it maybe it was a sneaky boat or gun runners or
pirates.
Something. Oh,
yeah.
Well, if we can't have the boat, we're not coming. So that was really, really interesting. And I like that the senator, had a new idea, might have been a hero, did it hit the propeller? Maybe we were onto something here. But it was kind of it reminded me of when Trump was spitballing with COVID. What if we tried
drinking bleach?
Yeah. No, I think it was injecting.
Oh, no.
But he's just spitballing. And this guy's just spitballing.
Yeah.
And, maybe, because he'd have been the hero if he'd have happened onto something. Because nobody shares any information. I haven't heard anybody say anything about fireworks on both sides, or,
Yeah, the distress signals on both sides.
Somebody else was doing them.
That's true.
It's just everybody's so closed-mouthed unless there's an exact
Well,
question.
loose lips sink ships.
Oh, well, somebody was loose then. and the rumbling,
Yeah.
not like the distant thunder.
I mean, that might be what it would sound like.
What do you think
though.
it was?
That would be what an explosion would sound like underwater, wouldn't it?
No. He said it was it was still floating.
Oh, I thought he said
it was while she was still floating.
Oh, you're
that I heard.
Oh, yeah, it literally ends on
heard
that. Okay. I totally misremembered it as I thought he said
that
it
would
was
make
when it went
sense.
under. Huh? Yeah, I don't know then.
And that would
maybe steam.
Yeah, good. That was really
confident.
Solid conviction there. I guess it's steam then. You're saying it with that much confidence, it must be true. So I'm going to go with that. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, well, so this was a good one. It ends really abruptly, though, for me.
It started abruptly, also.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? It did start abruptly.
like we came into a conversation.
But I wonder if he comes back or not. I mean, I don't know if there's anything worth
But a lot happened in his short little interview.
Yeah, he had a lot to say.
Well, there's a lot. And just skim through, because I have an idea. Do you think it was the propeller?
Well, and also, just to remind our listeners, this is when they split up. We talked about last episode. They split up, and now 5 senators have them across the table. So maybe
speed dating interviews.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So that would make sense why they're quick and to the point. Okay. Well, that's it for us. We'll see you next time.
Bye. As always, thank you for listening. Please be sure to let us know what you're thinking in the comments or at titanictranscripts@gmail.com. Also, be sure to check out our Facebook page, Titanic Transcripts, for more interesting tidbits and general discussion.